make it last. So when the moment passes by, we'll remember why we laughed so hard we nearly cried. They must have thought we lost our minds. Memories and photographs tell a story. Take a picture, make it last as time gets blurry. We'll never forget, rain or shine, that each day we're living up this good life. Let's take a picture. Take a picture.
For me, it's really just learning how to work together with people and pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, trying things I never really would or even think of doing.
I like being in Cub Scouts. They give you more opportunities to do things than you wouldn't get to if you were not in Boy Scouts.
It's a way for youth to really explore themselves and what they're passionate about.
The older you get, the more you do. And I just want to keep doing more.
Scouting's just a wonderful organization, and I can tell you right now that my life would be very different if I didn't know about it.
Memories and photographs tell a story. Take a picture, make it last as time gets blurry. We'll never forget, rain or shine, that each day we're living up this good life. Let's take a picture. Take a picture.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the January 2021 edition of Pathfinder District's Virtual Leadership Roundtable. My name is Matthew Kennedy, and I am your host for this evening, serving with the privilege of being your Virtual Roundtable Commissioner. So I want to thank everyone who's already joined us this evening. We already have a number of people who've joined our live stream. Wherever you may be, thank you so much for being with us. And this is being recorded, so for those of you who are watching after the fact, if you couldn't be here on January 14th, thank you as well for taking the time to watch our roundtable and get the information that you need to take back to your scouting units and your scouting families and help advance scouting here in Pathfinder District. We have a jam-packed agenda for tonight. We have a lot of information that we need to go over, so we're going to get right to it. As we would with any scouting activity, we do need to begin with an opening ceremony, so wherever you may be, please take a moment and prepare to join these Scouts and Scouters with the Pledge of Allegiance, the Scout Oath, and Scout Law.
Those in uniform, please salute. Those who are not, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
2. And thank you so much. You may be seated if you stood up. We do have a few things that we want to get out of the way here first. So again, thank you for joining us. And already in the comments, we have a lot of people who are checking in. If you're new to a virtual roundtable and aren't quite sure what's going on, we do ask that you check in for attendance. So if you haven't already, whichever platform you may be on, if you're joining us on Facebook, there's a comment section below the video live stream there. If you're joining us on YouTube, there's a place to comment there as well. Please simply comment with your name and then whichever unit or units or leadership positions that you're representing tonight, whether you're with a pack, a troop, a crew, a ship, or a district or a council position, or even if you're just visiting from another district or another council somewhere in the scouting world, we would love to be able to know that you're here. It does count towards roll call for purposes of attending an official roundtable. So do please take a moment and check in for attendance in the comments below. And then the one other thing that I would ask you to do, and this is just, kind of a social media thing, if you're on our Facebook page and you haven't already, please be sure to not only like our Facebook page, but also go into the alerts section and change it to see first. Make sure that you're getting our content, as soon as it comes out. And then also, if you're joining us on YouTube, and even if you're not, if you're on Facebook or Periscope, please go to our YouTube site and subscribe, and then click the alarm bell that pops up. Those are just little things that can help us be able to spread the word better. Just the way that algorithms work, the more people that we have that have subscribed and like our content, the more apt it is that you'll be able to see it on into the future. So that little bit of housekeeping out of the way, I'm going to move on to our first topic for tonight, and we're going to be discussing Firecrafter. So we've got a special message from the Orion Ember. Some of the leadership there put together a short video, and then our first guest will be along momentarily. So without further ado, Firecrafter.
Hello everybody, my name is Isaac Thomas.
And I am Sam Smith.
So I have one quick question for you, Sam. What are we doing here today?
Well, today we discussed the importance of what we are doing this month and what we are doing for the next month. But Isaac, why do we need to discuss this?
Well, we need to discuss this so we have a ton of fun during Ember meetings, and so we can have fun throughout the month too. And we can also discuss leadership, service, and friendship. But quick question for you, Sam. Who can come to these meetings?
That's a very good question. Anyone who has a rank in Firecrafter is able to attend these meetings. If you are a camper, woodsman, Firecrafter, or Mendocino, you are welcome and encouraged to attend these meetings. But Isaac, when and where do we have these meetings?
Well, every second Sunday of the month at 5 p.m., we meet on Zoom, and we intend to meet in person later down the road.
We hope to see you here.
And with that message, it is my privilege to bring on to the live stream right now our first guest, Mr. JT Brune, who is the new Firecrafter advisor for Orion Ember. JT, how are you this evening? It's a pleasure to see you, sir.
Hey, Matthew. Thanks. Great to be on here. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good to hear.
So with Firecrafter, obviously we're getting into New Year. Last year, because summer camps were not held, there's been a little bit of rough waters that Firecrafter had to navigate. But looking toward a new year and a new summer, what news do you have for us from Orion Ember that you'd like to share with the group today?
Yeah, thank you. The Orion Ember is looking to do a lot of building this year. We are going to be hitting our camp promotions hard. We're going to be encouraging all of our units and all of our scouts to go to camp. And one way that we're doing that is by organizing at our monthly Ember meetings. So as Isaac and Sam introduced, our meetings are on the second Saturday of each month, or second Sunday, of each month at 5 p.m. Those meetings are communicated through emails from the Firecrafter database. So every Firecrafter should have an account at firecrafter.org that's made automatically. You might log in there to make sure that your email address is current and correct. Sometimes as people change email addresses, or it might be their parents' email addresses and they're no longer getting that information. So go ahead and log into the firecrafter.org and make sure that your email address is correct. If it's incorrect or you're having trouble logging in, please email the council secretary at firecrafter.org. And there's a link right on the homepage that you can start that email. We are welcoming camper, woodsmen, and firecrafters So if you go to the Firecrafter website and you are a camper or woodsman that you don't yet have an account, or for whatever reason you can't get in, if you click on the events tab, you can still find the monthly Orion Ember meeting in that events tab. It's a public event, so you can register as a guest, actually, if you're having trouble logging in. We want to make sure that we're able to have as many people as possible. We'd love to have one youth representative from every troop. That'll really help us to be able to spread the news of what we're doing at Firecrafter, as well as to fulfill our purpose of friendship as well at Firecrafter. We're trying to put together several just fun activities throughout the year, as well as complete some service projects as well. I also wanted to put out a reminder that our nominations for Adult Firecrafter and Youth and Adult Mendocinos are due soon. So the Firecrafter nominations are due on the 15th of March, and Mendocino nominations are due on the 1st of April. So please don't delay. Get those in sooner rather than later, and so that we can have those nominations in. So thanks again for having me on today, Matthew. I really appreciate it to discuss Firecrafter.
No, thank you. It's wonderful to have you here. I really do appreciate it. Just a reminder to everybody out there, in addition to taking attendance, the chat function is available for questions. So if there's something that you'd like to ask to any of our guests tonight, please feel free to put those in the chat. If you have a question for JT, I'll stall here for just a second because there's about a 12-second delay from when you enter your message into the chat to when it gets to me. So JT, you were mentioning, and I'm just going to reiterate this real quick to everybody on a graphic, a reminder that Firecrafter Adult and then both Youth and Adult Mendocino nominations are coming due. Here on the screen, you can see the details on those, and specifically the website. If you go to that web address that is up on the screen right now, firecrafter38.wildapricot.org/page-18128, that will take you directly to the nomination forms and then the information regarding nominations for those positions. JT, just to ask you real quick, if you want to fill people in on how those nominations work, who is able to nominate for those positions, and are there any requirements that people need to know about before nominating for those positions?
Yep. So there are requirements for these nominations. The nominations themselves will actually list out the requirements on them. So a adult who has been active in Firecrafter has been active in summer camps previously would be eligible to be nominated for Firecrafter. And so those are typically done on the troop level. So you don't necessarily have to be a Firecrafter to make that nomination, but somebody at the troop level can make that nomination. And then a youth who has been a Firecrafter for at least 2 summers, or an adult who has been a Firecrafter for at least 4 summers, can be nominated for Mendocino. And that's somebody who's going above and beyond, living the Scout Oath law and the Firecrafter principles, and especially active in summer camp activities, would be able to be nominated for those positions.
Excellent. Well, I don't have any questions for you that are coming into the chat. I've got one here that I'm going to answer in just a second. But JT, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. You and I haven't really had a chance to meet before now, and it's a pleasure to meet you. And it looks like Firecrafter has a lot of great things ahead of it. So thank you so much in advance for everything that you're doing for that program. Look forward to working with you in the months and years to come.
Yep. Great. Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you.
Good evening.
One question that did come up, and it's from James Lucia. Let me put this up here real quick. Can you put that address in the chat, please? Unfortunately, no. I don't have the ability from where I'm broadcasting right now to put anything in the chat easily as far as like a cut and paste. But I will put this graphic back up here for just a second. If you want to take a quick screenshot of it or a picture of it with your camera, or just jot it down on a piece of paper, firecrafter38.wildapricot.org/page-18128. I will later on in the roundtable, I'm going to talk a little bit about our district webpage. I think this is one link that for whatever reason I forgot to put up there earlier today, so I will make sure that link gets up for you on the district webpage, so you click on that and go ahead and move forward. So that is our Firecrafter announcement or section for today. Next, we're going to move on to a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and actually starts with a little bit of an apology. Back in October, one of our own district commissioners, Eric Sparing, who's a good friend of mine, he's a great guy, he had his Wood Badge Beading ceremony. And because we're in the era of COVID, we did it with the intent of doing it virtually. He originally wanted to hold this in a roundtable in person. Obviously, that is not happening yet, and we didn't want him to not be able to be recognized. And so we came up with the idea of filming it and recording it so that we could show it at the next roundtable as a virtual presentation. Well, it was in my video queue in November, and because I am slightly disorganized, I completely missed it. So Eric, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry that it's been delayed to January. However, I do want to go ahead and share that with you. So we're going to begin with a Wood Badge Beading ceremony for one of Pathfinder's own, and then we're going to move on with a little bit of information about Wood Badge for you after the video. So please join me in celebrating Eric Sparing in his Wood Badge Beading.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this at Roundtable. My name is Christopher Lindgren, and I was the course director for our Wood Badge course, C6 160 19-2. So that was in the fall of 2019. We are here today to honor Eric Sparing for earning his beads, completing his Wood Badge ticket. As course director, I am now going to officially declare this Wood Badge Court of Honor open. Wood Badge is an adult leader training course that goes back over 100 years to 1919 and was created by Lord Robert Baden-Powell himself. He knew and understood that Scouts needed to have trained leaders to be able to mentor and guide them. He knew that adults needed to have the opportunity to better themselves. And Wood Badge is a course that does just that. We have a wonderful participant who has gone through the course, and we are happy to honor him today for completing the little bit of homework that comes along with a Wood Badge course. Before you is the axe and the log. The axe and the log is the universal symbol or the totem of Wood Badge. You'll find it on any course around the world where Wood Badge is offered. And Wood Badge is offered in every country where scouting is prevalent. Since its beginning, Wood Badge has had over 400,000 adults go through the course. Not all of those have completed the course, so it truly is a special thing, because just like our youth, when they go for Eagle, a lot of them attempt it, but not all of them complete it. So it is a true honor for them as a youth and for our adults when they complete their Wood Badge ticket. It's considered a mountaintop training experience for Scouters, and when they go through it, they learn a lot of new things about themselves, about leadership, and how to interact both with youth and adults in a much more effective manner than they may have known before. Many Scouters that have gone through the program have been Scouters and leaders for many, many years, thinking they might not get anything out of the course. But oh my goodness, when they leave the course and they've completed their ticket, they've worked that process, they know that they truly didn't know it all as they may have thought they did at the beginning. So we're very pleased and proud to be able to honor Eric today. Alan, would you tell us a little bit about the things that we see in front of us?
Absolutely, why don't we trade
Yes.
sides here? The cord and the beads. In 1911, 4 years after the scouting program began in England, Baden-Powell began training scout leaders by using a series of lectures followed by coordinated practical activities. Each one who completed that first Wood Badge training course was presented with a wooden bead from a long necklace. Baden-Powell found this necklace in King Dinizulu's hut during the African Zulu Wars. The beads became badges of wood and gave the training its name, Wood Badge. 2 simple wooden beads knotted on a leather cord have come to signify that the wearer has completed the most respected Scout training program and is dedicated to the highest standards of service.
Would you please remove the neckerchief and woggle worn during the course? You may present him with his beads.
The neckerchief. By 1921, the Gilwell scarf had appeared. The first ones were of the complete McLaren tartan to honor the man who gave Gilwell Park in England to Scouting for use as a Wood Badge training site. Soon, the scarf was replaced by the now recognized taupe scarf with a small patch of the tartan at the tip. The woggle, my favorite knot. The woggle, which is a leather neckerchief slide, has no beginning or end. It is symbolic of the never-ending commitment and dedication to serve youth and others. Just as you have to learn to make a woggle may remind you of the skills emphasized in the practical training aspects of the Wood Badge course. Choke him, choke him.
All right. So he's looking pretty good with what he's now wearing to represent the completion of his ticket. And this is exactly what you would see of Scouters anywhere in the world that Wood Badge is. The wonderful scarf, the beads, and the woggle. But of course, we are part of the United States and the BSA, or the Scouts BSA. And we all know that in Scouts BSA, nothing is truly done, truly finished, until you get a certificate. And as course director, it is my extreme pleasure and joy to be able to present you the certificate for having completed this journey, and thank you for being part of our adventure. Absolutely. So with that, Eric, congratulations once again, and I now declare this Wood Badge Court of Honor officially closed. Congratulations. Woo! All right. Woo!
Congratulations once again, Eric. And now joining me, a very good friend, everyone knows her well, the course director for this fall's, what would normally be called the fall course, but I'm sure she's about to explain all of this here in just a moment. Jenny Weber. Jenny, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to see you as always. How are you doing?
Hi, Matthew. I'm doing great.
Excellent. So normally we've got 2 or 3 courses per year, and in 2020 we had 2 courses scheduled. They were both postponed into 2021, and what we would normally have is a spring and a fall, but I know that's not happening this year. So why don't you explain to everybody kind of what we're doing with Wood Badge in 2021, where things stand, how to get involved, things like that.
Absolutely. I'm happy to share this experience with everybody and happy to share some information about what the Crossroads of America Council is doing in 2021. So thank you so much for that video. Congratulations to Eric. It was wonderful to be at the park to be able to experience that with you. Just to touch on a couple of things that Christopher shared in the video. So Wood Badge is an advanced national leadership course for volunteers and also professionals. It is only open, though, to those who are adults who are registered with a leadership position in a Cub Scout pack, a Scouts BSA troop, a crew, or a ship. This is designed as a 5-day course, and it's designed to help build a stronger Scout unit, to provide a deeper dive into what is Scouting, to give you that mountaintop experience that Christopher mentioned, and the memories to treasure for a lifetime. Those are amazing things that you can share with other Scouters and the youth that you work with. It's also a fun way to meet other Scouters, to build connections and a system of knowledge that is unsurpassed. It will benefit not only your Scouting experience, your work, your church, other community groups that you work with, and your family itself. Wood Badge is structured very much like National Youth Leadership Training, and we encourage every unit to send at least one adult to training every year, and if possible, even to help sponsor those adults to go. This year in 2021, Wood Badge and the Crossroads of America Council will have 2 courses this year. The course is actually set up as a 5-day course over 2 weekends. Weekend 1 is a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday experience, and then weekend 2 is a Saturday and Sunday only. Both weekends are required for completion of the course, and some of you may have heard about a 5-day straight course. There are some larger councils and high adventure bases that offer that full week-long course also. This year we have 2 courses. This is going to be called, like Matthew said, we used to have a spring and a fall, or a spring and a summer and a fall. But this year we're going to be calling the first course the August course, with the course director Scott Skull and his team. And those dates are weekend 1, August 27th, 28th, and 29 at Camp Kick the Weenan. And the second weekend then is September 11th and 12th at Camp Cretenstein. Then we also have the September course, which myself serving as the course director and an awesome group of Scouters to get together. And we're going to be having weekend 1, September 17th, 18th, and 19th at Camp Belzer. And then weekend 2 will be October 2nd and 3rd at Randsburg Scout Reservation. So again, some of these things we've talked about are some things that you can build into your Scout budget for your unit to sponsor one of your adults, either in full or maybe even a partial scholarship. The cost of the course is $280 for the regular fee, but just like most things that we do at the Crossroads Council, there's an early bird rate, and that is $255. Now, I have to tell you, Matthew, and you know this as well, that the slots, there are only 48 slots available in each course. The August course already has 31 slots full. The September course has 21 slots full. So if you want to go to course in 2021, you need to make sure that you sign up today to be a part of that experience, get the early bird rate, and make sure you have a seat in the best experience you can, because I know our course is going to be a sight to see. So thanks, Matthew, for this time tonight.
No, Jenny, it's my pleasure, and I wear my Wood Badge beads with pride. I know you do as well. It's something that I truly believe in. One thing I do want to ask you, because you mentioned that units will sometimes put together portions of their budget to essentially pay for a unit's leader to go. In my pack, we do that as well. Let's say that their unit doesn't do that, and they may have an issue being able to afford to go to the course. Is there a scholarship program or something that they might be able to do to help pay for Wood Badge?
Yes, actually there is. There is a scholarship available for Wood Badge. And what you would do is you would go first to register and pay the deposit. Once you've paid the deposit, then you will be able to download a form to send to either of the course directors. And it kind of asks basically what you're able to help do, what your unit is able to help you with, or even the charter organization sometimes has available funds for you. Another thing that's very important to look at is this course is, like I said, it's a 5-day course, and it is based off of many leadership and management skills theory courses that are out there. This is specific to BSA as we kind of run through the weekend courses, but this training can be used in any business that people are always surprised when they come out of Wood Badge, they go into their next evaluation or management meeting in their business and how much those tools help them in their business life. So if you have the ability to have budgeting dollars available at your workplace, always check with your employer also. We should even have a letter that if you have questions and want something, we can prepare something for you and send it to you that you can send it to your employer to see if they have funds available for you as well.
And I will say, I attended in 2016. I've had the honor of being involved with it for a couple of years after that. The training is, not just for scouting. It does touch on many different facets of life, business especially. Some of the topics that are taught, a similar type of training that would take 5 or 6 days. You may pay $2,500 or $3,000 to do this in the business world. At $300, it's an absolute steal. And the scholarships are there to help if you can do it. As Jenny said, space is filling up fast. So this link right here on the screen, crossroadsbsa.org/woodbadge, that will take you to a spot where you can register for both courses, either August or September, and scholarship or not. That is the first step in the process to get registered in space is going fast. Jenny, there are a couple of questions that came in for you. A few of them are... a couple of them are the same, but I'm going to start with Sandy, who's asking, what is the early bird deadline? I know that probably varies by course, August and September. What is the early bird to be able to get that lower rate?
The webpage says 45 days prior to the course start date. But again, they're first come, first serve. So if you wait until late July and try to get in there, you may not have a spot available.
I would say the rate the spots are going is probably early bird until full at this rate.
Exactly.
A question from Matthew Phillips, and then this is there's another person who said the same thing. If we registered and paid for Wood Badge last year, how do we confirm our attendance for the August course? That's from Matthew Phillips. And then Jennifer Taylor, if we were scheduled to go in 2020, are we automatically placed in this year's course? So obviously they're alluding to the fact that there were people who were going to go in 2020. The courses got postponed. Can you speak to that and how that works for people?
Yes. Because these are set up through the Black Pug system, the registration information, both Scott Skull and myself, if anyone was registered, we sent out messages to those folks, asked if they wanted to keep their registration for the following year, and people, they were automatically bumped in courses, the respective courses that they were in for 2021. And then we sent out those messages again. So if for some reason you did not get that message, it's possible that there was an error on your email address, and you can go back into your registration link and check that to be sure. Or just send either Scott Skull or myself a message, and we'll be happy to make sure that you're on those lists.
Excellent. Our own Tucker LaPrade has a question. Jenny, what is the theme for your course? And if you could also share what the theme is for Scott. I know that you already said yours. The more observant may have picked it up in what you were talking about. What are the themes this year?
Scott Skull's course is called Winds of Change, and my course's title theme is A Sight to See. And both Scott and I, when we went to course directors conferences a couple of years back, prior to 2020, we didn't have any idea of how true that 2020 would make those themes. And so we are very excited to make sure that we can get these courses in 2021.
Excellent. And Keith Carnes added, a link in, and I wasn't aware about this one. There's a link in the chat for people. There's a VFW Wood Badge scholarship in addition to the normal ones. This link will apparently take you where you can get information about that, just in case you're interested. Jenny, those are the questions that we've got in the chat right now. I'll just remind everybody that space is going fast. Please go to crossroadsbsa.org/woodbadge to sign up as soon as possible. But thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight and celebrate not only Eric's beading ceremony, but to talk about your course and the August course as well. And let's see if we can get more people in Pathfinder through the Wood Badge experience. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, Matthew. Bye,
Have a good
Pathfinder.
one. Yay. So Wood Badge is a wonderful experience. I can't say it enough. It means so much to me that I even have like little mementos about Wood Badge here sitting on my desk in front of my computer. It's a wonderful experience. If you've ever thought about going, go. If you've never thought about going, go. It was the best thing that happened to me in my scouting experience and for my pack, more than 4 years ago now, which is kind of scary to think of it that way. Similar to Wood Badge, there's another program in scouting, specifically here, not specifically, but especially here in Crossroads of America Council, called the National Youth Leadership Training, or NYLT. It's similar to Wood Badge in some respects, but instead of being an adult leadership training, this one focuses specifically on the youth. And just as there are Wood Badge courses here in our council in 2021, there will also be NYLT courses in our council for 2021. So we want to highlight those a little bit. We've got a video that the spring course specifically has sent over, and then our next guest will be joining us in just a moment. So please enjoy this information on NYLT. Now joining us to talk about NYLT here in Crossroads of America Council, we have Mr. Mark Riley, good friend of mine from the Wood Badge program as well. He's a member of the staff for our spring NYLT course here at the council. Mark, good evening. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Mark. Thank you so much. So just as with Wood Badge, we have multiple NYLT courses planned for 2021, and your course for the spring is the first that's scheduled to take place. So give us a little bit more information about what NYLT is, that which scouts need to consider going, why they need to consider going, and then specifically which courses that we have this year and which one, how they get signed up for which one they want to go to.
Thanks, Matt. So our course is going to be April 9th through the 11th and April 23rd through the 25th. So NYLT is a parallel course for Wood Badge. It's designed around the kids, and the motto for that is be, know, and do. And that stands for what a leader must be, what a leader must know, and what a leader must do. And like every other kid, if you just sat them down in a classroom and talked about it, they wouldn't learn anything. So all of the lectures are paired with activities and games that help them start working as a team and become leaders amongst their small groups so they can take it back to their troops or their crews or their ships and really put that leadership to the test. Right now, I know Pathfinder, we have 2 individuals from Pathfinder on staff, but no youth leadership there. So it'd be fantastic if we could get some youths from Pathfinder there to represent you all.
Excellent. So, Mark, if someone wanted to get involved in the course, I'm going to put up a link here for spring. What's the best way for somebody to, get signed up, and then what's the cost involved? What's the process look like? What's the schedule look like? Can you give us a little bit more details about the logistics of attending NYLT?
Yeah, absolutely. So the link on your screen right now, I've shared it in the chat, and it should be popping up here any second. Just follow that link. The early bird is only until the 1st of March, and right now the price for that is $235. After the 1st of March, it goes up to $260. So please take advantage of that $235. Along with Wood Badge, there's also scholarship opportunities. But I do encourage units, if you can help your scouts to go through NYLT, please do. A lot of troops do budget this. I know my troop does not, so we're currently in the same position you are. We're going to try to find funding for them, help their parents, and money should not be a reason that the kids cannot go to this. There's always resources.
And do you,
ahead,
when scouts attend NYLT, obviously, as with any training program or any leadership experience, there are aha moments. Are there any stories that you can relate as far as scouts that have had, without using names obviously, but transformative experiences going through NYLT and helping them progress, whether it's in their scouting career or something educationally or career wise? Do you have any experiences that you could share along those lines?
I do. I actually have a personal experience. One of my very good friends, when he went through NYLT, when we were youths together in the troop, he was normally a very quiet, shy guy. He came back from NYLT, was re-energized in scouting like adults get with Wood Badge, and he earned his Eagle. He stuck around, and he's still one of our leaders at the troop today, and he's 35 years old. So he's been around quite a while, and I'm positive NYLT helped turn that for him, because you never know. You always get that feeling like he's getting bored, he's going to quit, and he came back from NYLT, and he was re-energized, and it's kept his batteries charged for a long time.
And then I know, going through the requirements of NYLT, 13 years of age or between 14 and 21 for venture crews and Sea Scouts, minimum of first class rank for Scouts BSA. One of the requirements that's listed that some people, as odd as this is to say, they may not know what it is, but the junior leadership training requirement, the idea that there's a leadership training at the troop level, for units that for whatever reason may not know that that's a thing or they've had issues with it. Can you explain a little bit of what that is and where somebody might be able to get more information on that as well?
Yes, absolutely. So just like you do with your training, log into My Scouting. The kids need to log into My Scouting, and it'll be an available training link for them. And basically what that course does is it lays a groundwork for us to build off of during our course. So that they don't come in completely blind. We want these kids to be comfortable with the concepts that are going to be covered during our course, and that'll help familiarize them with everything we're going to be talking about and doing.
Excellent. Well, Mark, NYLT, just like Wood Badge, it's such a great leadership training experience for the youth. I highly encourage every unit to consider sending someone. If every unit in Pathfinder that was eligible sent one scout to one NYLT course, that would by itself more than fill half of the course. So definitely something for all of us to consider. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Any last little things that you need to share with NYLT? Any last little plugs besides sign up now?
Well, I do have a request.
Okay.
I know that there is one ship in Pathfinder District, or maybe more than one. I'm aware of one in Greenwood. So if anyone has a contact for that, please send me their email address, phone number. I will put my email address in the chat. So please, I want to get everyone involved that can be.
Excellent. Well, Mark, again, thank you so much for taking time to join us tonight. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we can have a bunch of scouts from Pathfinder District join NYLT coming this spring. I know I'm going to be talking to a certain 13-year-old or 14-year-old who's about 50 feet that way later this evening. So, Mark, thanks again. Have a great night and a great weekend.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Matt.
All right, so good news, bad news for everybody here, folks. Good news, we're 7:45 p.m., which means we're about halfway through Pathfinder District Roundtable. Here's the bad news. There are no other guests for this evening, so unfortunately you get to deal with the docile tones of one Mr. Matthew Kennedy going over the rest of our content. We have a lot of things on the agenda to hit, but there's a lot of little things. So instead of bringing on some of the other members of Pathfinder District this month, we're simply kind of having me go through and cover everything as best as we can. In fact, Mr. Matthew Phillips shared a comment on our YouTube feed. Have there been any updates on the Diversity Merit Badge yet? Funny you should mention that, Matthew, because if you wait until a little bit longer here in Roundtable, we actually will be getting to that. I do have a slide discussing it. But just a reminder, if you haven't already, please make sure that you have checked in for attendance. Comment on the Facebook or YouTube chat with your name and your unit information so we can get that covered. And then also, if you're on YouTube especially, make sure that you subscribe and click that alarm bell so that we can keep getting you the information that you need as quickly as we possibly can. So without further ado, we're going to move into the rest of the content that I've got for tonight. There will be a couple of videos to break things up a little bit. We're going to start with some general announcements. We're then going to touch on the Cub Scout Roundtable breakout topic for this evening. We'll then do some Scouts BSA announcements, Venture Crew and ship as well, and then a Scouts BSA level breakout, and then wrap up with some questions at the end. So without further ado, so a few people were asking why we didn't have a roundtable in December, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Normally that December roundtable is more of a party type of atmosphere. It's kind of hard to do that via a virtual roundtable. It's also generally our annual meeting. So it's where the district committee and district leadership, all of the chartering organization representatives for all of the units in the district will get together to vote on the leadership for the district going into the next year. That did take place in December, and so we wanted to announce the results of that. And there aren't a lot of changes until I get to part 4, so bear with me for a moment. Our key 3 for the district leadership for 2021 is unchanged. So our district director is still Tucker Laprade, who cannot be with us this evening. He's got a few other things that he's working on. I know that he's chatting in the live stream right now. He asked if he could be on the stream, and I'm the one who actually said, I've got it this month. We'll see you next month. So he is chatting if you'd like to say hi. Our district committee chair will be Angie Adelsberger again. She is going to be continuing for her second year in that position. And then district commissioner will still be Marshall Broadwell, who will be continuing the second year in that position. For vice chairs for the committee, one slight change, although he was kind of already a vice chair anyway, just on the ballot, we made it paper official. Alan Wente will be our vice chair in charge of activities. Jared Kavanaugh will be the vice chair of program, and then some guy named Matthew Kennedy, I don't know who he is, will be the vice chair of business. If you're wondering what the difference in these areas are, activities covers exactly what it sounds like. It's things that you do, fun stuff, whether it be camps or camporees, district events, things like that would fall under the activities umbrella. Program is going to cover advancement and training. Those are the two big items there. There's a bunch of other stuff, but those are the two main items under program. And then business is going to cover membership, fundraising, and communications. So if you're looking for what each of those three roles kind of oversees, I'll show you where you can get more specific information on that in just one moment. And then we also have district committee at large members. There are 24 members of the committee that sit at large. Their names are listed here, and they will have various different duties and tasks and different subcommittees that they sit on. So if you recognize a name there, please pass on your congratulations and welcome them to the district committee at large team. Now, aside from those members, if you haven't been there in a while, this is actually pathfinderbsa.org, and I'm sharing it here for a specific reason. If you look at the website, oh, nope, that's not that one. Let's go to the right one. Oh, there we go. This is pathfinderbsa.org. Sorry about that, everybody. So this is our district's website, and if you scroll down, there is information on our virtual roundtable. So if you missed one, the previous one or two will always be linked directly here, or you can just go to our YouTube channel and see them directly. Old versions of the newsletters and different information. Our district calendar is here. Keep scrolling. Links to different information or forms. If we have something that we're talking about, you usually find it here. Place to subscribe to the e-newsletter, and then the leadership listing. So this is where you can contact people and click to get emails out. But if you keep going down, this is where it breaks it down by position. And you'll notice there are a lot of opens that are listed. And sometimes we'll hear people giving feedback about why we're not doing a certain thing, or, hey, can we improve this? Or we'd like to, see this happening again in our district. And the short answer is we would love to have people help by filling in some of these open slots as well. So this might be a way that you can help us help you, if that makes any sense. Take a look at some of these positions. If there's something that you think you might have an interest in or an ability to assist with, some of them are more time sensitive than others. Some of them have different time level commitments. Definitely take a look at the list, because it is current and up to date as of this moment. If there's something that you think you might be able to assist with, definitely let us know, because we're always looking for additional people to join the district leadership team and help out on some of these committees and events and programs that we may have. So that is the leadership team for this year. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. And as Brent pointed out, I'm going to mention this here real quick when we go to this. Brant posted a message saying many of these are one-off activities, not year-long roles. That is absolutely correct, especially with the events-driven ones. As an example, District Pinewood Derby Chair, which we'll be talking about later, that is something that obviously is only going to be looking at late winter into the spring as we're going into any given year, specifically working on that event. So different things that you can look at, different possibilities that you could do to help out with different things. So the next thing that we've got, also related to that website, it is Unit and Leader Awards season for our district. Nominations are currently open for a number of different awards. Specifically, this form that you see here on the screen is linked on our district webpage. So if you go, there'll be a link that you can click on to download, a PDF similar to this. And one form is used for all of these different awards. There are 7 that are listed here. The Pathfinder Award, the Guiding Light Award, Pathway Award, Guiding Light Award, Partners in Scouting Award, Venturer Sea Scout Leader of the Year, Cub Master of the Year, Scout Master of the Year, and then the District Award of Merit, which is the highest award of all of those. This same form is used for all of those different awards, but you fill out a different copy of the form for each nomination that you're making. So if you're nominating one person for multiples of those awards, you would need to submit it separately for each award entry. There are several of these awards that are obviously program specific. The Guiding Light Award specifically, though, is one that we would ask that each unit should be nominating someone for Pathfinder's Guiding Light. That it is not a single recipient in that case. We will have multiple recipients of the Guiding Light Award. So definitely talk about this with your committee members, with your unit leadership. Talk about the different leaders and adults, both in your unit and in the district, that may be deserving of recognition, especially after one of the hardest years that Scouting has ever faced with the pandemic and COVID-19. There are a lot of people out there who have done tremendous work in helping to promote Scouting, both locally and district-wide and council-wide. Take a look at this form, see who you might want to nominate for these different awards. On the form, the final page will have breakdowns on what each of these awards are and kind of what the expectations are for, you know, someone being deserving of being nominated. The deadline for nominations is January 31st, 2021, obviously. So please make sure that you're getting them in the next 2 weeks so that we can recognize these folks at the Pathfinder District Awards Dinner or Awards Event or awards something, because we're still working out what the details of that are going to look like. But we are going to recognize people one way or another this year. We need these nomination forms to be submitted to get that process started. So please take a look at the form and then email it to the address indicated. That email address is also on the link on our website. If you're hearing some noise in the background, I apologize. My 4-year-old is now deciding to make a ruckus. Next topic, another thing that happened in December, 2 different events, both the kickoff for the Friends of Scouting for Pathfinder District, then also the Governor's Luncheon for Scouting, which was held virtually this year. It starts annually the Friends of Scouting campaign for not only Pathfinder District, but Crossroads of America Council overall. The good news is that so far we've had a lot of people very generously continue their support of the Friends of Scouting. I'm happy to report that Pathfinder District is tied as far as districts go with the greatest percentage of our goal already raised for 2021. Thanks to a lot of very generous people who have already continued their pledge for this year. But the next step in the process would be the traditional unit presentation. And you may remember this from years past, where a Friends of Scouting presenter would come to some large event that your unit holds, one that generally would have more families attending, with more of the parents and guardians and grandparents and people of that nature. Sometime between now and April, and they would give their presentation with pledge cards. We are scheduling those unit presentations now. There's a link here on the screen. It's a jot form over there. That is where you would need to go to register your unit for this year's presentation. Now, there are 2 different ways that we're doing the presentations this year. The first is the traditional in-person. Someone will come talk, present the pledge cards, hand them out. We will obviously take as many socially distanced precautions as we can. For those units who are meeting in person, this would be the ideal method for having that presentation done. The second option is the new one, and we do realize that there are units out there that may not be meeting in person yet. Either you have a location that has not reopened yet, perhaps you simply are too large due to local requirements to meet in person at this time. Whatever the case may be, we do have a virtual method of doing Friends of Scouting for 2021. It consists of a facilitator who would log into whatever your virtual meeting method is, whether it be Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, whatever it is that you use, Facebook groups. If you are meeting virtually, we would simply have somebody who would join you, kind of help present the information. And then there's a video. It's about 5 minutes long that is culled from the Governor's Luncheon for Scouting that will help present the Friends of Scouting for 2021. Friends of Scouting presentations are always important. This year, if your unit is participating in what is called the Promise to Parents program, that is the one that allowed for the reduced registration fees for Scouts on recharters. So if you took that $40 off per Scout, this is one of the 8 things that are required in order to meet the agreement for that program. So please go to this form and schedule for your presentation as soon as possible. We would like to have all presentations done by April 30th, whether virtual or in person. And if you need more information on that, please let me know, let Tucker know, and we'll be happy to walk you through everything and kind of answer questions as we go. So that is Friends of Scouting for right now. But again, for those people who've already been supporting us and helping us out, thank you so much. The fact that we're more than halfway to our district goal before January 1st was just an incredible feeling. It's wonderful to know that there are so many people out there still looking to support us. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. So those are kind of the general announcements that I've got for right now. We're going to go into the Cub Scout Roundtable breakout for tonight. And the topic for this breakout is specifically going to be one that we mentioned earlier, which is Pinewood Derby. As we get ready to go into February and March, obviously we would traditionally in the Cub Scout program have a couple of very large events that take place that are in person, high attendance, close, high contact kinds of events, and those would be the Blue and Gold and then the Pinewood Derby. Specifically looking at Pinewood Derby, we need to think about ways that we could execute it this year with COVID in mind. So we're going to play a little bit of a breakout video here, and then we'll discuss a little bit here afterwards. So see you in a moment on the flip side.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is race day. That's right, it's Pinewood Derby time. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for this. This pandemic has taken a lot of things away from us, but I draw the line when it comes to Pinewood Derby. The smell of freshly cut wood, the blisters from sanding, and the feeling of graphite underneath my nails. It's Pinewood Derby. Here we come. Now welcome to Roundtable. We're going to share tips and tricks to conducting a successful Pinewood Derby race, even if you can't meet in person. I will show you some items that will take your car design to the next level, because some Pinewood Derby cars are built for looks, not necessarily for speed. We will also want you to share with your fellow leaders some of your best proven techniques. Like any great event, things just don't happen. It is the result of planning. So the first thing to do is to have a discussion about your Pinewood Derby. Start with these questions. When the event is over, what do you want parents and Cub Scouts to say about the event? How do you want them to feel when it's over? If you have done a Pinewood Derby in the past, have you followed up with participants, both parents and Cub Scouts, for feedback? What do parents and Cub Scouts like about it? What do they not like about it? If you have not asked, now would be a great time to find out what families are thinking. When you ask these questions, be prepared to make changes to the event if the majority of parents want a change. Now, for example, the first Pinewood Derby I did as a Cub Master, we conducted it on a normal Tuesday night pack meeting. After the event, we asked parents what they liked and what they didn't like. Our parents said it was a great event, but it felt rushed. With that feedback, we made the decision to move not only next year's Pinewood Derby to a Saturday, we also decided to move the upcoming Blue and Gold to a Saturday so that it wasn't rushed. Not only did we learn lessons for the next Pinewood Derby, we also took those lessons and applied them to other events. Now, you have decided on what you want to accomplish with your Pinewood Derby and what kind of event your parents and Cub Scouts enjoy. It's time to start planning. This brings us to our second step, managing expectations and having simple rules. Now, managing expectation starts immediately and is reinforced leading up to the event. When it comes to managing expectations, let us talk about the elephant in the room. Who actually builds the car? So, let me address this by saying a method of Cub Scouting is family involvement. For my pack, this tied into our first step of why we were having this event. We used Pinewood Derby as a method of Cub Scouting by giving a chance for adults to work with their child on a project together. We kept our focus on that as our purpose. We provided workshops with access to tools for adults who didn't have them. We also shared all the tips and tricks to building a fast car. No secrets. This was a real learning opportunity for both Cub Scouts and parents. This is something that your local Scout shop may be hosting soon too. We also kept the awards for the races small and simple. That's managing expectations. Keeping the rules simple is easy, because in every box of a Pinewood Derby car kit is a set of rules. Our pack used these rules. This avoided families claiming they didn't have the correct set of rules. A tip from the experts is to have an opportunity for adults and other family members to make their own car and have their own races. This is where crazy additional rules can come into play, and in some cases, no rules at all. It's super fun, and you can keep it out and away from the Cub Scouts Pinewood Derby race. And that way you can keep your rules simple. Now, on to the third step, and that's logistics, or the physical setup of your race. Now, this is where we hope to inspire you to be creative based on your local regulations, on gatherings during the pandemic, access to your facilities, and the comfort of your families with in-person activities. Now, a tip from the experts is to provide a Pinewood Derby car to each Cub Scout in late November or early December. This gives the winter break and holiday season for the Cub Scout to have time with an adult or other family members to work with their car together, and then conduct your race in January. Number one logistical item is having a track. We could do a whole discussion about tracks. For planning purposes though, just remember two things. Confirm that you have a track early and set the track up prior to race day with enough time to address any needed repairs. The second logistical item is location. This is where knowing your local rules and regulations about gatherings is important and how you conduct your race. You may be able to use the same location you've used in the past and have enough room to have social distancing between different families. Or on the other end of the spectrum, you may conduct the race purely virtually when the track is in a location where only one or two people are actually conducting the race and the race is being shown on a live video feed. In between these two concepts is plenty of hybrid methods where if you have a large pack, you may run races by dens for smaller in-person gatherings, or you may have an event set up to allow people to attend either in person or virtually. Once you've decided on a location and what method, in person, virtual, or something in between, the next step is to plan out how you will check in the cars. Some large packs have developed a process over the years that also works well with conducting virtual races. This process sets a separate date and time that is before the race where Cub Scouts turn in their cars and the cars are then secured until race day. Checking cars in is not only time consuming, but it isn't much fun. So by having this as a separate activity, it makes race day all about having fun. Here's a tip from the experts. You want to check each car to make sure it meets the specifications outlined in the rules. This handy device is less than $6 and makes checking the car measurements quick and easy. In addition, you want to make sure that no car is over 5 ounces, which means you want to have a good scale. Now, once a car is measured and weighed, you take the car and place its official race car number on the car. Most people put it on the bottom. The car is then stored and not sent home with the youth. So yes, that means someone will have dozens of Pinewood Derby cars to contend with. But this system ensures that before a car goes on the track, it has been inspected. Now, our last step to a great event is to find a way to make it special. Now, our pack would do wherever we could to make it look like and feel like a raceway. So we had a snack bar, a pit stop for repairs, music, and decorations. It all made it for a very special event. Today's Pinewood Derby cars have great options for design, including lights and sound, paint, stickers, and wheels that glow in the dark or glow under blacklight. Now, that's inspired me to think of having a whole race done in blacklight, or maybe one completely in the dark, or maybe we could, I'm sorry, I got a little off track. Get it? Off track? What can I say? Old Cubmaster habits die hard. Now it's time for you to share with your fellow race fans. Take the remainder of the time to share your proven techniques. Here are some questions to get you started. How do you plan to conduct your Pinewood Derby race? In person, virtual, or a hybrid? What one thing does your pack do that you think makes your Pinewood Derby a success? How do you keep your Pinewood Derby a friendly competition? All right, thanks for being at Roundtable. Look forward to seeing you next time.
So definitely some good information there and some good questions that they're asking. Obviously, the video mentions handing out car kits in November and December for a race in January. Your unit may have looked at delaying things, and my pack specifically, we just had a conversation at our most recent leadership committee meeting, and we didn't want to take away many of the facets that make the Pinewood Derby such a great experience for our scouts. So we have opted to delay our Pinewood Derby until later in the late winter or early spring to try to make it where we can either do it as an outdoor event, or if the restrictions get lifted to the point where it can be done with a larger group indoors, that we can do it that way. Virtual, though, is definitely a very valid option. It's something that you could explore doing with your unit. The important part, and the reason that I share this video, the important part is that you're having those conversations and realizing that this is one of the marquee events for Cub Scouting. It's one of the things that Scouts are going to remember. Very often we forget as adult leaders that it's these little things that seem insignificant to us but mean the world to a younger Scout. So definitely have those conversations, see if it's something that you can do to modify to make your Pinewood Derby more COVID friendly, whether it be go virtual or simply delay it. To answer the question, because a couple of people have asked what the plan is for the district Pinewood Derby. Obviously it was not held in 2020 because of COVID. The short answer is we do not yet have a scheduled date. That's for a couple of reasons. First, similar to what I was saying about units possibly delaying their Pinewood Derby to allow more time for the pandemic to hopefully begin lifting with vaccines and things of that nature, if we delay the district Pinewood Derby, it will help allow more units to complete their district race or their unit race before a district Pinewood Derby so that everyone could participate. The second reason goes back to the leadership conversation I had earlier with the website. We are hoping to have someone who is willing to step up and lead the district Pinewood Derby. I had done it for the previous couple of years. Last year it was canceled. It was actually going to be the last year that I was going to be doing it. So we are looking for a team to kind of take that ball and run with it. That will help answer some of the other questions that come into play as far as what the rules look like, which they should not change very much, if at all, from what they have been listed as for 2020, but also scheduling the date, location, and things of that nature. So if you are very into Pinewood Derby and it's something that you're interested in doing, please let us know, because you can help put that event together and we can help craft it and get it ready for units going into later this spring. So that is the Cub Scout breakout for this evening. We're going to move on to a few Scouts BSA, venturing crew, and scout ship related types of announcements. Please, pack folks, stick around. I would love to have you stay on till the end, but we are going to be going into the second part of our breakout. Announcements wise, we talked about Firecrafter at the very beginning. Obviously, there is another honor society for scouting, and this one nationwide, the Order of the Arrow. Your key 3 for troops, crews, and ships should have received sometime in December, or this sample specifically here is from January 1st. You should have received emails to your key 3 about scheduling Order of the Arrow elections. If you have not, you will need to reach out and follow up to be able to get those scheduled. There's an asterisk on that, so give me just one moment. If you have received this email, though, please make sure that you are getting your election nights for your units scheduled. That is something that generally takes place early in the calendar year. And this email specifically, if you look at it on the screen, is a follow-up email saying we have not seen a unit election scheduled yet. We need to get that taken care of. Click the link to get it taken care of. So if you have received it, please make sure that you're following up on it. If you have not, you'll need to follow up with somebody, and that's where this slide comes in. For the Order of the Arrow, if you go to their website, and this is a screen capture from their website, you may notice that the Pathfinder District's chapter, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it because, yeah, I'm not. But our Order of the Arrow chapter is currently in the throes of rebuilding, and I was hoping to announce something tonight. I don't think we're quite ready to announce it yet, but we are working on a new OA advisor that is this close to being accepted. But in the meantime, essentially our chapter has been rolled into the new Five Creeks District's chapter as far as administration goes. And these two contacts here on the screen are the area contacts for Order of the Arrow, specifically for the Western area. Mr. Turner is the West Area Advisor, and Mr. Sumner is the West Area Chief. If you email them, they can get you the information that you need for our chapter for Order of the Arrow, as far as, you know, who to contact, scheduling elections, and things of that nature. Still use the link that you were emailed to schedule your election, but if you have questions, these are the two people that you can contact to get current information. Like I said, we are working to get this inactive chapter taken care of. I know that that's something that Jared has been working on behind the scenes, or Alan has been working on behind the scenes as well. But that is kind of where we're at right now. If you have questions on OA, those are the people to call. Another thing that you may or may not have heard about and may answer a couple of your questions, OA just released, and this was on January 10th, so only a few days ago, temporary camping requirement changes on top of the changes from 2020 that apply for 2021 elections. Obviously, due to COVID, there are a lot of camping opportunities that were missed, specifically in the long-term variety, summer camp. These requirement changes are on top of the ones that they already did for 2020 and will help address some of the questions that come up as far as who's eligible for elections in 2021. I'm not going to try to go through this. This is a screen share of a much larger document, and it then links over into the 2020 to give you the rest of the information. But the address at the bottom, and hopefully somebody can grab that real quick because it's kind of long, oa-bsa.org/article/ yada, yada. That is where this information is. So before your unit elections, please make sure that you are reviewing these and going over them with your unit and your youth leadership before your elections. We do have a message here from Mr. Alan Wente. Hope to announce very soon. The person that I was alluding to, we're hoping to be able to make an announcement about rebuilding OA here in our district very soon, hopefully by Roundtable in February. So that's OA. If you have any questions, again, talk to these two email addresses. They will get you taken care of. The Western Sectional Winter Camporee, if you did not already get word about this, if your unit had been registered or if you were considering going, the Winter Camporee has been postponed. It was scheduled to be in January. It's a very long discussion as to the different things that are causing it to be postponed, but ultimately we can say that due to current COVID-19 restrictions, we're looking at moving it to March 12th through the 14th at Camp Cretenstein. But more details on that will be announced soon. We're finalizing reservations and things like that. I know Tucker's been working on that. May have an update going in the chat here momentarily. He said he was working on that this afternoon. Ultimately, we're postponing the Winter Camporee to make sure that we're able to operate it the way that we're supposed to in the pandemic with local restrictions in mind. Hence why we're at Camp Cretenstein, because the different things that have to happen behind the scenes in order to make an event work right now due to COVID restrictions, that's the location that's most conducive for us to do it. So again, if you were scheduled to go to Winter Camporee, it has been postponed. Tentatively, the dates are March 12th through the 14th, tentatively at Camp Cretenstein. So go ahead and note those on your calendar. We apologize for the adjustment, but in the world of COVID, unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at. One other important change, and this is the one that Matthew was alluding to earlier in the comment, the Diversity and Inclusion Merit Badge. This announcement came out 1 week ago on January 7th. The proposed Eagle required Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Merit Badge has been delayed. We announced in November, we talked about this at Roundtable a couple of months ago, that National had announced this new merit badge, that it would be going live in January as an elective, and that in May it would be going live as an Eagle required, so that anyone who had not earned Eagle by that live date would then have to earn it as an Eagle required merit badge after it goes live. So that's why it was important news then. This announcement on January 7th essentially takes the November announcement and postpones it. They are still working on the requirements. I'll let you read the text there for some more information. And there's also an email address there, and it looks like it's typed in correctly, but that's the exact one from the website. So I'm hoping it's right. If you have questions, you can send them in. But ultimately, they're working on updated information updated requirements and making sure that it's all buttoned up and ready to go. So they are postponing the launch of the merit badge. With that, they're also saying that they're postponing it going into effect as an Eagle required. They're going to be giving more time. They will give sufficient notice so that anyone who's working toward Eagle Scout will know, do I need to get this done as an Eagle required, or am I going to be finished with Eagle in time before this launches as an Eagle required? They should have sufficient time to make that decision before it goes live. So that is the current update. This is all the information that I have. So unfortunately, I can't answer any questions beyond this. If you do have specific questions, though, this is the email address to contact. They should be able to help you out more there. So real quick, before we go to our Scouts BSA breakout, there were a couple of questions that came up. And Tucker did want to verify Camp Cretenstein, March 12th to the 14th is a go, assuming COVID precautions allow. So you can almost use ink to mark in Winter Camporee for your calendar. Because of COVID, I don't think we can mark any calendar in ink at this point, but it's as close to ink as you're going to be able to get if you want to go ahead and put that on for Winter Camporee. A couple of comments that are coming in as far as the Order of the Arrow. Andy put up the question, once Order of the Arrow is rebuilt, are there plans to redevelop a sanctioned crossover ceremony that will be offered crossover Webelos to Scouts BSA? They go on to... Alan responds, yes, the goal will be that units can contact OA or Firecrafter for crossover ceremonies. That is part of the process. Obviously, in rebuilding the chapter, it will be rebuilding all of the elements of the chapter. As far as crossovers this year go, there is still the Firecrafter option for those who want to explore that. I know there have been a myriad of crossovers that are sometimes are virtual. Some packs are putting them off. In my units, my pack's case, the Scouts have already crossed over. They're working with the troop. We're waiting on the ceremony until things open up. COVID-wise, again, not wanting to take things away from the Scouts as far as experiences. There are going to be a lot of different options there. As you get closer to your crossover, reach out to the district committee, reach out to OA and Firecrafter, and we'll let you know what's going on at that point. For our Scouts BSA breakout, we do have a short video. And this one is kind of Cub Scout related too, but it is something as we're going into crossover season, see the connection there? As we're talking about crossover, troops need to be preparing for these new Scouts that are crossing over. And, some troops have this down to a science. They have Webelos to Scout transition teams and leaders who can help out. With some troops, this is a little bit of a muddy water. Maybe they don't have systems or people in place to help with that. So just a quick video to talk about some of the things to be thinking about as we're going into these crossover season session, and we'll talk about it a little bit more on the flip side.
Most tenured scouting families first experience our program through Cub Scouting. A positive experience as a Webelos Scout family transitioning into Scouts BSA will improve retention, which will help keep our program healthy. For the next few minutes of this roundtable breakout session, we'll offer some insights on welcoming Webelos into Scouts BSA. Webelos will not automatically join your troop just because your pack shares the same chartering organization. So your troop must take the initiative in asking new members to join. Most Cub Scout families are not familiar with troop dynamics. So new families need to know how a troop functions and how it functions differently from a pack. In particular, that troops are youth-led and adults give guidance. Share with them that your youth leaders occasionally make mistakes, and that's all part of the development process. Here are a few action items to undertake with the help of your district membership chair and unit commissioner. Identify Webelos dens from packs in your area that can potentially join your troop. Plan a program of upcoming troop events that can be shared with the Webelos dens. Identify and train members of the troop to become den chiefs. Conduct camping trips and encourage Webelos dens to visit. Attend a Webelos den meeting to teach the Webelos how troop works. Invite Webelos and their parents to your troop meeting to see firsthand how your troop operates. We recommend conducting orientations in person or online with the family who's preparing to join your troop. The orientation helps reinforce your troop dynamics while setting expectations for the family and the new scout. The Orientation for New Scouts BSA Parents offers a good resource for conducting that session and can be found at the link on the screen. The Welcome to Our Troop customizable document provides another resource to help families remember the orientation details and connect with troop leadership. Conducting a Scoutmasters Conference with Webelos provides another great way to discuss topics such as the meaning of the Scout Oath and Law, the Advancement Program, troop camping, the patrol method, summer camp, and of course, personal equipment. Your troop is unique, even though we all have the same mission and aims. Your troop dynamics are different in terms of where and when you meet, your code of conduct, and the nature of troop leadership. Sharing these traits with new potential scouts and their families will increase their comfort with the transition. Remember, these are young scouts, and this is a new experience for them. For some, this will be the first time they've had a role with responsibility, and that can be overwhelming. Consider creating a new scout patrol, or a troop guide, or possibly having an assistant scoutmaster work with the new scouts to ease the transition. The quality of the experience and retention of new Cub Scouts will depend on guidance of the patrol leaders and adult leaders. They should clearly define how your troop operates, as well as expectations of the scouts and their families as they join the troop. Now, take some time during the remainder of this breakout session to discuss these questions. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all you do for Scouting.
The transition period of bringing scouts from the pack to the troop is a very important one because ultimately it will go directly to first-year retention levels of scouts once they're in the troop. You know, that first year can be very confusing by design because ultimately it's part of the method of teaching scouts and helping them develop into leaders, but it can also be a frustrating time that sometimes we can forget from our perspective that it is a difficult process to undergo as a youth, especially as an 11-year-old who's never done it before. So having these tools that they discuss as far as, you know, orientations with pack families, at your crossover events, giving them information, you know, here are the different ways that our troop operates differently from how the pack operates, or whatever your process may be, it is a very important one to look at because ultimately it is going to determine your success in, you know, retention for your troop. And ultimately I'm not going to say most, but a lot of the recruiting that troops will do will be at this crossover age. It's hard to get them in after, you know, 7th, 8th grade. It's hard to get them in fresh. It really is coming from the Cub Scout ranks by and large. So something to take a look at, something to prepare for because we are going into that crossover season. Make sure that you've got your programs in place for that. Speaking of crossover, and Jenny made a comment in the Facebook chat. I want to share this out because she's still participating in the chat. There's a larger group that Matthew referenced to contact Will Turner and Kyle Sumner for OA, JT Bruin for Firecrafter that can discuss this with units. And what she's referring to is when it comes to the crossover ceremonies, obviously if with our OA we're rebuilding it, it is possible to have other other districts groups come in and do your crossover. I completely forgot this, and I'm glad that she mentioned it. A few years ago, my pack 499, we had a crossover team for Firecrafter in this case, who actually came down from Delmi, who helped by doing, or what is now Monon District, they came down to do our crossover because there was a scheduling conflict and we couldn't get a group from Pathfinder in for that night. And it was a great experience. They were wonderful guests to come in and do our crossover ceremony. So definitely reach out to those contacts, the ones that I showed for OA, JT for Firecrafter. Even if it's not from within Pathfinder District, if you're looking for a group to come in to do that ceremony, we will find somebody to do it for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the information that I've got for Roundtable tonight. I do want to thank everybody for being here. If you haven't already, please click on subscribe, click the alarm bell, click on like, click on share. Ultimately, help by sharing this information out to as many people as you can, because that's what's going to help us continue to grow and build these virtual communication tools, be able to get the information out to you. But it is getting ready to strike 8:30 exactly, so I want to get us out on time. Thank you so much for joining us for Roundtable. We will be back in February. We will have an email come out with the date and times and links as we get closer. But until then, Matthew Kennedy from Pathfinder District signing off. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next month.